Hello, I am Antoine Nezenbeis, young ergonomist. To illustrate what a professional story is and the way of the utilization in the context of the young practice in Réflexion Day, I present to you a story of an ergonomic intervention that I carry out as part of my job. This example is a design project in a municipality where I am working. The article was written with all the members of the JPR and more particularly Camille Bachellery, who I'm thank. The presentation will be in 3 stages. First of all, a quick theoretical reminder of what a storytelling is. I will then present to you the intervention that I carry out and the contribution that I was able to have. I will end with the contributions that a professional story can have in the JPR day. The story was the subject of the study of Geoffrey Bourgeois in 2012, who defined 6 different stages in the story. The first is the succession of international action. The second is the consistency of at least one agent. In the storytelling who I present, it's the ergonomist. The third stage is the transformations of predicates. The situation of each moment is in evolution within link with these 2 other stages, structured process and a plot. A plot is with an orientation, a complication, actions in the face of the complication, and deployed in the face of the complication pose, the resolution, and the final situation. Finally, the 6th and last stage we explain Bourgeois is evaluation, which helps guide an interpretation of the story. Why do we use professional stories and what are the functions? In this thesis, Geoffrey Bourgeois explains the contributions that storytelling can have and defines 4 functions, and I quote him. The first of all is the didactic function, which makes it possible to enrich the library of cases of its recipients to help them build and solve complex problems. Then the configurational function of the storytelling concerns its ability to account for independent events in a whole making sense. Another contribution is the reflexive function, allows awareness by distancing from past experiences, invites us to read our past, present, and future by dialoguing with ourselves and giving the opportunity to better understand ourselves. Finally, the projective function has an opportunity to experience action sense by proceed by acting cognitively and immersing oneself in the skills to be mastered. Geoffrey Bourgeois explains that the story he has studied are for training purpose. As explained Alexis Chamble before, in the first presentation of the symposium, within the framework of the JPR, we are not within this framework, but the contributions are more or less the same. After this theoretical reminder, I will present my professional story to you. It should be noted that the presentation products does not quite reflect a real professional story presented as part of a day, which normally lasts a good half hour. Hi, I'm Antoine Nezenbeis, young ergonomist. I'm working as internal ergonomist within the Human Resources Department, and more specifically, the Prevention Department, which aims to support more operational department in project in the municipality. The intervention presented takes place within the town of Meudon, and it is a support for rehabilitation project of the school registration services. Meudon is a city next to Paris. The 700 agents of municipality administer the 45 inhabitants and has a role of culture, social support, education, or management of green spaces. The service in which I intervene is the education registration service for for peri and extracurricular time, for counting time, and early childhood. This service is an interface between families and services on educational issues. There are 8 agents who are working in this department who manage communication with family, billing, and software management. To quantify, this represents 3,500 families and 5,000 children. The presenting project aims to redesign the reception. There are many reasons for the redesigning. First of all, the main reason is the wear and tear of the building, which has not been changed for 40 years, with problems of mold and light. The second reason is the change of organization with the dematerialization, which is in full expansion. To illustrate, the people accommodated at municipality decreased by 10 between 2018 and 2020. On the contrary, in the same period, calls and emails are very widely increased. The needs in terms of space and reception of the population are therefore no longer the same. From a part, I supported the actors of the municipality in improving this and highlighted this organizational dimension based on place. Different actors are present and have different roles in the project. The director of buildings who manage all the buildings owned by the city, a plan designer who masters 3D modeling, the responsible of the technical center who realized custom-made offices, the director responsible for the operationality of the services, the service manager responsible for the quality of service, the administrator officer of the education who receives the citizens every day, and the ergonomist which made it possible to put these people around a table, these actors around the table, and to have a reception terminal as close as possible to the needs of the public and the agents. Now I will take quickly what we do in this project. First, after redefining the needs with management, I observed and met the officers to identify the issues and the change objectives. Then I worked with the head of the services to write the specification. Subsequently, we present these elements of the different actors, and the first scenarios for the design were mentioned and were mentioned. 3D plans were made, and the next step was to be the simulation and realization. Then we see through this storytelling, the ergonomists allow us to the participation of all stakeholders, which allows integrations of point of view of different actors and worked with different disciplines like operational and technical services. It allows also the coordination of the different actors and the integration of needs of many municipal officials in the field. The intervention did not necessarily lead to a concrete result because particularly the pandemic, but is in one day of practice, a storytelling like this allows the different participants to project themselves into practice. Then if we try to project us in the day of exchange, we can ask us what can be the contributions of this storytelling after in the day of practice. It permits to discover the functionment of company and the organization of a project company, here a public services. It permits also the reflection on the methodology for the participants and for the narrator. Another contribution is an enrichment of the library of work situation. Here it's a situation of reception station. Another example is the reflection during the formalization of the story on its practice. The story service mainly as a basis for discussion of the practice and allows interaction on how to carry out the different phases to have broader discussions on themes. Then to conclude, the storytelling is a cornerstone of day of exchange, which will allow to learn the theme. It permits to project oneself into the action towards an objective of discussion on the practice. It gives body and substance in the day of exchange. Danny John will present you now the example of a day of exchange in the third part of the symposium. Thank you for your attention.